This week, we are going to learn a little bit more about error handling and debugging. And you're going to start by reading chapter 10 in the book and then going through the lecture demo. And all of the video links I put up at the top, and then they kind of go with the different content that we are covering from the chapter. And a lot of the techniques you are already familiar with. So this is just going to kind of solidify what you know and actually add a few more techniques so you have some more tools in your toolbox for figuring out errors and how to fix them. So as you go through here, I try to give you lots and lots of examples and talk about the different types of errors. The council is something that I utilize all the time for error handling. So we will be learning more about that. Council.log is super useful, something I use all the time. We'll also talk about breakpoints and how to set those. I honestly, for JavaScript, I don't find that as useful as the council. So as you go through here, talking about all of these different techniques for error handling, we also get into some useful functions for detecting errors in JavaScript and converting data from one format to another. Finally, we get into exception handling because JavaScript includes try, catch, throw, and finally, just like pretty much every other programming language. So you'll learn how to apply this in JavaScript. And when you throw an exception, there is an error object. So you will be learning a little bit more about the error object and how to create your own throws and exception handling. And then once you complete that, you're going to work on the textbook assignment, which involves adding try, catch, throw, and finally into an existing program. So you're going to download the program in the graphic. I did go through the wind chill exercise, which you guys are super familiar with. And I added the try, catch, and throw to that. So hopefully looking at that will help you figure out where you need to put the code in. How old are you? Then there is another exercise, and you are going to be adding data validation and exception handling to that. So in the past, some students have gotten confused about what they need to do exception handling on or validation on. And so basically, anything the user is inputting, you need to validate. And in this particular game, uh, it's basically their guess that you need to make sure is valid. That's the only thing that the user is entering, right? They are putting in their guess. Everything else you are generating. So obviously your stuff is going to be valid. It's just the user's data that you have to check on. So there is really only one thing that you have to validate, and that is their guess. I do want you to add a couple council methods to the code so you can get used to using them. Um, council.log is super useful. In fact, you could add that for uh, their guesses, or you can do a council.log on the correct answer. Um, You could add council count or council info. I'd like you to try two. Okay, so I'm giving you an example of how to do one. So you just need to figure out how to do the other one. And after you finish those two exercises, this next one is going to be the one that's going to take longer. However, when you get done with it, you will have a game. And that game can be used as one of your term project games. So this is a tutorial that you are going to be walking through. And you'll notice that we get down, I have you go through adding sound to it. So you're going to start here, and you basically are going to do all of these different sections through sound. And if you want to go on and add gravity and bouncing and all of that, awesome. Okay, but what you'll end up with when you get down to sound is something that looks like this. Here, I'm going to make it end. Okay, so it did have a little noise when it did its little collision. So that is kind of the game. And you can use that as part of your term project, but you do need to change it a little bit because you can't have just the squares. So if you do something like this, where you're doing a score and you try to incorporate levels, that would be perfect for the game. Okay, and another example is this one. This is one of my former students. Oops, I'm horrible at this game. I believe you have to use the arrow keys. Yeah, this is an arrow key one. Okay, so you can kind of see that one. And so if you want to, you kind of start with the squares and the rectangles and then convert it into graphics, something like that, that would be perfect for one of your games. And once you finish the assignment, you do need to create a final project repository on GitHub. Okay, so this kind of walks you through how to do that. And what you need to submit to the Dropbox is a link to your repository. And you do need to upload your term project. So there is a video, I believe, created a video that shows you how to do this. If I didn't, I will show it to you now. It's not that hard to upload. So let me go to GitHub real quick. So it automatically logs me in because I'm out here quite a bit. Sad but true. Let's see. So JavaScript final project, here's the repository. So what you need to do as far as getting your code here, you can, I mean, if you know how to push to GitHub, awesome. If you don't know how to do that, you can just click on add file and say upload files. And then you'll take your final project folder, wherever that may be, and you'll drag it over here and release it, and it will upload your files. So that's all you need to do. And then you can just click on the link, copy it, and paste it right into the Dropbox. And because this week we are dealing with error handling and debugging, I do have a problem solving exercise for you. So you aren't going to be able to post to the discussion until you go in and pick an exercise. There's 5 different problems. So you're going to pick one of the problems, decompress it, open the file, and debug and fix it. Then what I want you to do is link that into your assignment page so I can see that you've fixed it. And after you have submitted done to the Dropbox, you'll be able to get into the discussion problem solving exercise. And so you're going to post what problem you solved and summarize what you found was wrong and how you fixed it, and describe what you found easy or difficult, and then reply to 2 other postings. Okay, so that is the discussion, and you will not be able to get in until you complete that exercise, the problem solving exercise. Then, for extra credit, if you have completed quiz 2, you can come in here and complete extra credit on quiz 2. What I do is I kind of go through, figure out what most people miss, and do an extra credit on it. And this is kind of restricting students so that the only people who can go in and get the extra credit are the ones who actually took the quiz. So that does make for a fairly busy week. But if you wanted a little jump on the term project, you could get started on Milestone 2. Now, Milestone 2 requires one of the games is complete and the second game is half done. It does not need to be complete. So if you're going to use the jQuery draggable exercise as one of your games, and you decide to use the Canvas exercise as another game, you're probably well on your way to being done with Milestone 2. Okay, so if you're going to do something else, then you're going to want to throw a little bit of time at it. So if you run into problems or if you have any questions at all this week, please ask because I am here to help you. Have a great week.